Yo, what's the word?
Happy Thursday, brother. I'm so happy to be back in the Rose Garden with you. How are you?
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for asking. What about you?
Wonderful. You say it with all this wispiness. I'm wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for asking. How about you? All is well with me, sir. And you ain't got to put on your like deep voice. It's just me sitting in the Rose Garden.
Yeah, I can't change that. You know what I mean?
People get, listen, people are already tired of you because you caused last week and it had my group chat popping off. But before we talk, let's introduce ourselves. Good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you are. I'm Sarita. I'm one half of this wonderful podcast um, host, and I'm always joined every week, every Thursday with my exceptionally gifted brother Xadian, who be causing trouble each week. And we come together to one honor um, the time that we get to share with each other because this is truly my weekly therapy, and to bring some uh, honor to our grandmother who raised us and helped us be as open as we are and hopefully as successful as we are. And today we have a lot to unpack, brother, because see, I tell you, you do fine most of every show. You make it through. Last week it was a really good show, and you did fine. You made it through, except you said you ended it with, your husband should thank me for your virtue.
Yeah, he should. He should. Just like any man, like I told you, there's a tradition of, it's weird because my daughter said something to me about if a man came to me and asked me to marry her, ask permission, my permission to marry her, that she would consider it being that she's my property. And I
Mm-hmm.
was wondering to myself, so and then I have a good friend who is also my CPA CFO, and he
Mm-hmm.
lives out in California area. Grew up totally different than me, and he's of a lighter persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter told him the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we were marveling over this because we were wondering where in the world did these girls get that thought process from, and then I see where it comes from. It's the predecessor females of them
Have you ever
because
thought of where in the world you all get your thought processes through?
well,
Like it's
yeah,
always
I
when
have.
you
Remember I told
reflect.
you we had that situation where I went to that event that my homeboy was hosting. That was the minister, and he says, "Hey, what is a man, and where did you learn it?" And I paid attention to everything that they said, but in every case, all the dudes in the room, their answers were identical with each other. What their
That's about
viewpoint of
being
what
a
a
man.
man was,
That's
huh?
about being a this is
And how did they learn it? How did they learn it? So that's
how do you learn how to be a partner, a husband, a friend is where what your
well
daughter.
that's why no, but what she's talking about is the ego, the feministic ego of I don't want this guy who wants to come into my life as a life partner to go to another significant male in my life and get his approval and acceptance and permission. He shouldn't do that because that other male is not my property. Uh-oh, what's
Mhm.
going on here? What happened here? Huh?
What happened? What's going
I don't
on?
know. Something just uh came across my screen. But anyway,
See, listen. All angels come, and that's the angels coming, the hand of God trying to make you better. Because what you are dancing around is the concept of ownership of another person, and you have to at least admit that the framework that you use is misogynistic. Because
no, no, no,
so
no. I
if
think
it
that
was
every man. So let me ask you this question:
okay, go.
if as a brother or as a whatever, like the whole point of us together is to be connected to someone in any kind of a way, as family, brother, sister, whatever.
Right.
Isn't there some unspoken thing about that we supposed to be taking care of each other's well-being?
We should. So how come
Yeah.
then, if you're
Hmm.
framing it that way, where it wouldn't be
Hmm.
misogynistic? Because let me just get you to the point, because I want to get to
Hmm.
the group chat because they got some questions for you.
Yeah, let's
Is
rock. Let's rock with it.
if it wouldn't be in this misogynistic way, then what you would have done for your daughter was say, I would like you to go to his parents too and get their permission, and I will let them come seek my permission. Or we would all come together and say, is are your beliefs and values aligned and a good fit for my beliefs and values? And then we could have this kind of collective way of saying, come be a part of my family. But that's not the traditions that are handed down. What's the tradition that's handed down is, this male has
Well,
to have
well, well,
male
see now,
and
now, see
delicate.
now, see now that's where I feel like this is the where I say like the envy of women towards men, right? It's the envy of femininity towards masculinity. Because see, women are upset because it's the man who is you know the one that's being sought out for his acceptance and approval of this union, and they jealous of that fact, right?
So
Because
you think
because
so
I
he
don't, because the
motivated.
tradition is it's the pater familiar or whatever you call that, which is the
Why
head of
is
household, that which is
why is it the tradition?
the male head. You go there if there's one there. So let's just say in our families, in our communities, the males have been ran off systematically. Sometimes by the women, sometimes by the system, sometimes by other things, but the man has been ran off. But in intact families, that it's a beautiful tradition and it's expected again, because now in this role where I would say that where the double standards benefit of women, the role of the male, the head of household in that family, is that he is responsible for the upbringing of and the well-being of these people. You know what I mean? So even in our house, the reason why I take credit for this, because you said you influenced me in this way, which I which I own. I own the accountability and responsibility for it. But you trying to say you influenced me in this way, and and my thought process of it, and my relationship was off. Well, I say it wasn't off. It was where it was supposed to be in its proper time, right? And yeah, I take credit for that because I own up to the fact that I did influence you in those ways, and in this way, I raised you. And I would say that you all also have an impact on me in certain type of ways. And because
Okay.
for a great deal of our life, we as kids are assuming adult responsibilities, meaning that we might be taking part in raising each other.
Hmm.
And in us raising each other, I would say, like, if I think back, on certain experiences, I could see how, I was influenced by, my sisters, which at that time, when we may not have been in the direct, atmospheric influence of our grandmother,
Hmm.
I was getting that from my sisters.
Right.
So in this way, I would have to admit that y'all took some part in influence my development in certain types of ways.
I
And
think
that's a beautiful thing to admit. Like,
I
to say,
we can admit that. I think the problem is now you are taking you see you're blending two things, and I don't want your brain to do this to you, because I noticed that you intellectualize when you're getting into the feeling space, so your own egoic nature doesn't allow you to sit with the fact that a female in your life, your daughter, your sisters, also have an autonomy. And there is a hierarchical exchange that you're trying to describe in
they
our
got
relationship.
autonomy until they don't want it no more. You know what I'm saying? They were out of time. See, you see, that's the thing about,
You not
like,
have
the
autonomy.
female, the feminine mindset is
No, no, no. Don't
y'all,
make
y'all. So
you
nobody
have
has nobody got well, put it this way: in my role, right,
So
as
much.
being head of household, yeah,
Okay.
I got autonomy over that to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Okay.
certain things remind you that this autonomy that you supposedly have, you might not completely have. Like for instance,
Give me an instance.
if I own, so quote unquote, supposed to own a plot of land,
Hmm.
if I decide I don't want to pay taxes on this plot of land, and it ain't mine no more. So then, truth be told, I don't really own it. I just own the privilege for that moment to be occupying it and be on it, but I don't really outright own it. So what I'm trying to say to you is, I've been, I've been, granted, afforded this role, right? That comes with a certain sets of responsibilities that I'm obligated to fulfill.
So
And
you're
and one of
obligated
those,
to give your daughter's hand away in marriage, just so I'm following
well,
this thought.
I'm saying that if all things are right, if all things are right, yes.
According to
Because
Xavier.
let's just no. Well, if you want me to speak from a perspective of what's coming from Xavier's thoughts and heart, I would say this would be dependent on certain things. So let's
Okay.
just say now, if I was not around, let's just say I have a child that I don't know of, just
Hmm.
hypothetically, this ain't no, because people sometimes take things for seriously, what you say, but this is a hypothetical thing. So walk down this hypothetical thought process with me.
Okay.
What if when I was 15 years old, I got a girl pregnant and I didn't know about it? Let's just
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
And now, in my 40s or whatever, uh this child, comes and seeks me out, right? And
Hmm.
it's going to be a big surprise, to me.
Hmm.
And it's a girl child, and she wanted, she telling me she gonna get married, all that. Under that circumstance, I don't believe I have the right to give my blessing, because
Hmm.
I'm not, I'm having fulfilled, the obligation of being like a daddy or father to her.
Hmm.
But if certainly though, you know, if I am the Xavier that I am presently,
Okay.
who has ultimate, you know, responsibilities to the development of my children, and
Hmm.
I have created a lifestyle for them and sponsored their life and brought them up in the way they should go. And now, yes, I am entitled to that. Like
Why?
certain little things out of just respect. I'm entitled to the
So
fact
you're
that,
entitled out of a sense of respect. And I would
hmm
also probably add honor, because I'm trying to just align with this thought chain. I don't think
hmm
though that we're not saying the same things, because what you're
hmm
saying is I have assumed this head of household role, and as the head of household, I deserve the respect and the honor because in order to have the developed human, my child or my children, they came through the privilege of being my child. So now that person who's interested in taking my child for a wife, you believe that it's your owed. I'm just trying to hear this in my own brain. Some kind of ask.
So yes, I do, and I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip it and put myself in the seat of the man that's seeking them to date or marry someone seriously. See, I think like if a dude is a serious dude, right, and he's garnering respect, and I've had this experience, with my homeboy Kiko. You know what I mean? And you could ask him on this or whatnot. But I love this experience, which is if I'm choosing to date somebody out of his family, right?
Okay. Okay.
Then then honestly, I'm coming to it from the perspective of I'm gonna do this person right. I ain't gonna do them wrong,
Right.
right? So it's a beautiful thing to me that I'm able to go in there and earn their respect, get their blessing, and not just definitely from the father for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But not just in and it just feels so good as a man to man, you know, that that father embraces me
Mm-hmm.
and sees me as worthy enough for his daughter, and that I've actually earned that, you know, and that everybody is happy with the fact that this thing is connected together, you know.
Well, would you
That
not?
that why step over that? Why would a woman want to be like, um, I don't want my man to, you know, to have the blessing of that experience of that of my family, you know, uh, bestowing on him, you know, the love and appreciation of the fact that they see him as worthy enough for me, and
But
that
I don't think that the issue is that doesn't feel like a good thing. In that description, it feels like a good thing. I guess my counter
mm,
to that would be why not also have the experience in the opposite, in the converse, where as much as it's important for that young man to be embraced by the father, would it also not be important for your daughter to be embraced by their family? And
yeah, but I think like if it was, let's just say if my son was going through the same
we're just
things.
trusting the men to pick good women.
No, well, yeah, I think once again, y'all get the benefit of that double standard where men are just automatically assuming like, well, the women are going to be good.
But we're
But I
not
would
asking
say,
for the double standard. We're asking for some reciprocality, and that's the misogyny. Is that you
but
create idea that women are pious and
well,
that they're
women don't want no reciprocity, and y'all definitely ain't pious, so y'all don't want no reciprocity. Because I
women
would
do
say,
want
but
men
why
aren't
I say
either.
that? Now let me
Men
tell me why that is so, right? Because there's also some unspoken things in this tradition, right? It's like me right now. Let's just say, if I know that my sister, like, put it this way, I can't say that my sisters were the neighborhood hoe. I can't say that, but if they were, I would know it. You know what I mean? And it would be hitting me with some level of shame and stuff like that. In addition to the fact that they happen. But what I'm trying to say is
Well, the group
when the
chat totally disagrees with you about hoes, and the
okay,
group chat
okay.
believes that we want to. And I'm speaking as a group chat, not as Sarita necessarily, but certainly I learned a lot from the group chat because that stuck out to them that a part of what you felt you were giving to me as a uh, tool was uh, I can't call my sisters the hoe of the neighborhood, right? Which is all
100%.
but the word
100%.
well, let's talk about foundationally where hoe came from. So the hoe came from the word whole, which kind of means inviting in something to grow. So hoe itself isn't necessarily a negative term. It became negative in this conversation and this kind of contemporary use of it, ambassadorization of the fact that women can take ownership of who and when they want to sleep with somebody, how many somebody they want to sleep with. And it's interesting to me that men don't hold themselves to the same standard because it is also whorish. I'm gonna use grandma's term to be a man who dropping it low and spreading it wide for everything.
Well, see that. So see, this is where I say y'all want reciprocal.
We want
How you say
reciprocity.
reciprocity? Y'all want reciprocity
Yes, we do.
only when it's beneficial, right, to you, right? But you don't want full out reciprocity for real, because I would say
We do. We want full
that
reciprocity.
once again, like I say, like it's a unspoken thing, right? Definitely just parent to parent. You know,
Okay.
and grandma taught us this, and any decent parent does the same thing. Whoever your child is dating, whether it's son or daughter, you want to know the background of the family that child is coming from, the other
Correct.
person is coming from.
We all
So
agree
what?
on
So,
that.
so
Yes.
yeah. So now the thing is with that, the reason why that occurs, right, is
Hmm.
because it's an unspoken thing that if this is a decent family, they got some standard of upbringing. They've got respect for each other, know how to have. So basically, they were raised right. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So
We all agree.
I want to have a girl. I want to have a girl for my son
Hmm.
that was raised properly, to know
Yes.
how, right? And I want a guy for my daughter also that was so when a person, is when a man is coming to me, he's automatically acknowledging you raised this girl right. That's why I'm interested in
How
her.
you, what the hell
And
are you talking about?
that,
Automatic.
that that's a
What's
that's a
the
unspoken
automatic part
that's
of
an
it?
unspoken reality. Like right now, let's just say if I'm meeting a girl and I know her father wasn't a part of her life at all. Like she's telling me, "Hey, I'm just meeting my father for the first time. Like
Right?
he didn't know about me and all that. So he's not the person I would want to go to, to allay, their concern about. Look, this if she's with me, she's gonna, be cared for as the way that you guys did, and that I'm aligned with these this basically we got the same type of moral fabric and stuff. He wouldn't be the one I would go to because he doesn't have that mantle in her life situation. But
Right.
if there was one that was the mother or stepfather or something,
Hmm.
brother, I would want to seek that or whatever. That's why, like, in truth, I'm not really a big fan of messing with my homeboys' girls. I mean, not my homeboy girl, but my homeboys' sisters. I ain't a big fan of that because it's like, you know, to your point, if we inside of a situation now, me and her have autonomy, and that's overstepping the relationship I might have with him. But see, y'all women are always trying to be like, well, I want to have the freedom and the autonomy to do all this ratchet, crazy stuff where
It's not
everyone knows. Because like being like a whole, like the whole, like women is definitely like you say, whole synonymous with whole. We know that women are the receivers, so orifices and holes is basically what women bring it to the table. So
but
that's
let me
so
ask you this.
so
Let me ask
necessary that ain't necessarily a negative.
it's not
What
a
makes
negative.
it's not a negative, but
I think
indiscriminate
so you assume
autonomy
that
is
there's no
crazy.
discrimination, and you assume that people have not made a choice. And I think that's the point of the discussion is in misogyny, because control is at the root of it. The idea of another person choosing for themselves what is fine for themselves. So let's just say having one partner. And I think was it you or someone else that said that monogamy is an unnatural experience, right? I
That
think
was my
we
brother Wes. That was my
had
brother.
okay,
But
okay.
even our own mother said that, and I would tell you that
Wait a minute. No,
there's
no, no. Don't
there's
run from this.
there's
Don't run
there's
from this.
misogyny, but there's also misandry, which is so 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 I think y'all
Wait, wait.
operating on that. The misandrists
Okay.
are the ones that got women who have a hatred for men.
Okay, wait.
And yes,
Don't run too
yeah,
far away from the
okay,
misogyny though,
okay,
which
let's go.
is in its at its core designed to control the feminine energy. And you have to ask yourself, if as a man, your core desire to be with this energy that's so uh it's so free and it really is the fruit of the world. Like every life form passes through the woman. You it does.
So
I
y'all
mean,
sugar and spices, everything nice like we think of y'all. We think the same of y'all, but
but
y'all
the
character
idea
don't show it. Y'all
the
character
idea
don't show it.
the idea of choosing for yourself. And let me tell you what the group chat said, just to give you some flavor. So it started with the conversation about how you were so excited about the fact that I had so much virtue, but the women who said they had the most experience at,
Hmm.
in the group chat said that they felt the most sexually free, which is an important part of being a woman, because many women who are not sexually complain deeply about not being fulfilled in their sexual relationships. They don't know how they know or understand intimacy. And they also, many of them feel like they're in these kind of coercive control dynamics that they don't know how to get out of. And so those women who were more sexually free said they could recognize that and say, you know what, this is my body, these are my choices. And
So
they were in relationships of men that they felt were either there was some reciprocality or they had autonomy to choose. They didn't have this experience. Isn't it a sad experience when you say if women are in their middle ages saying they've never had an orgasm with a male partner? But that
man,
is a true.
women confuse me, right? Because are you saying that that basically sexual freedom is basically the property of having or not having sexual freedom has anything to do with being in a coercive um,
It could be that
relationship? So my
that
whole thought process is this, right? What value is a woman bringing to the table outside of sex? Like what if
a
there
lot
if
of values, I would imagine.
so then if there's more to whatever the woman can bring that's non-sexual, then why is so much agency put on the sexual part for the woman? Like what I'm
Why is
saying is,
the
yeah,
converse?
why is it?
My question goes back to you. Why is there so much agency put on the sexual part of men? Why is
Well,
it that men feel like it's okay for them to drop it low and spread it wide
well,
with
well,
no consequence?
well, let's examine that because I would say that you say that the woman's energy is free, like y'all got a free,
It's
vibrant energy.
free. It's
But I
free.
would say that men are not but men are securing families and then providing,
Every man is.
provisioning. Not, I'm not saying every, but I'm just saying for the most part, a lot of basically, I'm using the generalized sense of what you think like a healthy man, traditional man would be, is he's provisioning a family lifestyle, whatever. So I'm saying that to say, but no man that I ever have met or known is imagining being married. No man is doing that. No
Well,
man
they're
be like, I imagine men do that because they feel like that makes you feel more secure and more better and all that stuff.
I
So a
think
man giving up a sense of his freedom. No, no,
they take
this is
they want
true.
those good women off the market. They can't
No,
stand.
no, no,
Yes,
no, no,
yes,
no. This is
yes.
true
That's
because
why so many men keep their wives and they got to jump off because
well, let's
they're
just say no man, no. So okay, if a man if a man, okay, let's just say this.
oh, you don't want to
What if
hit
a
that.
man? What if a man loves a girl, loves
Okay,
her, but he just don't want to be married? What do you women do? Do you say, I have a good man that loves me and he's caring for me? Or do you say, well, if he don't want to marry me, or he doesn't want to buy what did they say, buy the cow to get the milk, or whatever that saying
right,
is.
right.
But
That's what grandma
y'all
used
are
to say.
the ones dictating this thing, not the man. The man ain't the cow and the milk analogy ain't for men. That's
So are
for a
you trying
woman.
to tell me that
So
men
so
have agency because the women that the women they feel coerced and controlled by
That,
women.
that's exactly
So
that's
you
exactly
have
right.
never
Men
met.
are getting coerced. Men are
So
getting coerced, controlled, abused by these
how
misandrous women. Yes, that's
many women?
exactly what I'm saying.
How many women then? I didn't ask my husband to marry me. I didn't ask my husband to marry me. I don't know how. I don't know that there are very many women who are asking
Did you
men.
want to be married?
Of course, I wanted to be married,
Okay,
but I
so
think,
so, but I
and
think
let me
I
tell
think
you
I
why.
think your husband could have been your husband could have your. See, the thing is this.
No, no.
See,
Like you need to
why
understand why I
why do
want to be
women
married.
why do
Because
why
to
do
me,
women want to stamp
marriage
all
meant
over
marriage meant something different to
what it
me.
means?
It meant that this person who I was sharing my life with deserved to grow with me. And that as a married person, we would do that together. And our station in life would be elevated because we had each other, and selfishly, I already was a mother. So I had that t-shirt, had the mug. I think we were living as a married couple. So we lived together, but we were not married. So certainly
So
my
so
mom
you didn't
was,
being inside of that situation, right?
you
The
didn't
way
even
you
let
had that,
me know what I'm about to
you
say.
had the t-shirt and you had the cup, the mug. I just want to
Right.
know, being inside that situation, because you saying your husband. So when you started
But,
this, you
but
said
we were
he asked me, like as if you were saying I didn't really want to be married or whatever. My husband. This is the way it comes. This is the
wait,
way
wait,
that
no,
came
that's not how
across.
it sounds. How it came across
Yeah.
was that
Uh,
so for me, foundationally was I already had symbol mother. This person had said I was
he
a
made
good,
you a he made you a mom. He already had created a family with you.
we had a family with each other.
Okay.
If
Yes. Okay.
and we were doing things like a married couple. Now,
Right.
uh, so we lived together. We did. So my only thing is if you don't want to get married, then we can date, but we
See
can
now,
date.
now,
That means
so you coerced the
wait.
man, and then you gave him that's emotional and
Nothing.
psychological
I didn't.
terrorism.
So what's wrong? What's wrong with dating?
Because now
Dating.
you're trying to say, well, because you don't want to marry me,
That's not what I
we're going to reduce the commitment in this situation to dating me, which means that
why would
basically what you try to say to him is
essentially what we were. We were dating. Marriage brought
no, no, no. Y'all were
dating.
a family.
We
Y'all,
weren't
you say it for
a family.
yourself.
He
You
was
had a
my
t-shirt and
boyfriend
the
and
mug. See, this is the
I was a
correction. Y'all
being a
women don't see how deep the misandrist feminist consciousness is playing on you. The man is you living together.
mm,
Y'all have brought a life to in this world together.
many people do
What
that.
more can the man do? What more can he do to
So
show you that
if
he's built a life around? So, but you're not secure
I was
and safe
secure, I
enough.
said we
No,
could
no, no.
date. I said we
But
could
see,
date. That means we're gonna live
now
in our
you
own
say we
house.
could date to limit to
He
reduce.
could, I
Why
didn't say
would you
he
want to do that if you created a life? Why would you want to
he,
date if you got to?
nobody said that they
So,
couldn't have access to the child. I said you're gonna date me. If
so
you're
see
not
now,
going to
now
marry
you
me,
got either
you're gonna
date me
date
or marry me. So that's
me.
coercing, and that's some
That's
psychological terrorism.
that's not that's not
And
that's
it's
completely
emotional.
true.
It's emotional. It's like an ultimatum. You got no choice: date or marriage or whatever. So what man? If this man is creating a life with you, and he's creating building a family with you, and you gonna tell him, well, we can date if you ain't gonna marry. What man would want
I
that
didn't
if he's?
say all of that. So
But
in the same vein, then make this make sense. You started this conversation off where no man, let me do it. No man dreams of getting married. But
I
so
never met one.
men must dream of being fathers,
Yes,
must
definitely.
dream of having partners. They must dream of doing all of this, provision that you love to talk about. That so men dream of that, but they don't dream of bringing up a partner with them, which absolutely makes no sense. Because when you start to bring in lives like having children, or we when we're dating each other, we're saying we're responsible for each other's feelings, emotions, we're going to care for each other and have some level of concern. The only thing that the marriage does is it adds the contractual part of the legal parts of what we're saying we're doing through dating. I
I don't
think that
disagree with none of that. I
so,
agree
so that's
full heartedly with all of what you just
so
said.
that's what marriage meant to me was if we were going to go down this pathway of sharing assets, like buying a home together, buying cars and all that, then we would need those legal things. Now, marriage is, outside of like the biblical aspects of it, or the religious aspects of it, it's a legal doctrine. And so certainly if I was going to be adding more brats to the group, I would want my children to have the legal aspects of what
So
parents would
security,
have.
safety, and security inside of the side of whatever's happening here. But you know what I
Right, but
realize
that's
is
what's typical
that
for everyone. If I die, my partner gets something too. It's not just
what
he
he
died.
get
I mean, I would
what he
imagine
get
that
but a broken heart and grief. I
he can
mean, I
access
think
things and all of the things. Do you don't think women are paying alimony? You got to be out of your mind.
Man, I'm not. They're the exceptions. The majority of things are
See, the
men
problem
are men
is
are they're
around these people who you have got.
no, boo. These are. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you. I understand through talking with you what's wrong, because I always wondered. You know what you the reason why men aren't sitting here dreaming about weddings and all that stuff, and traditionally, you women are the ones that are asked to be married, but you really are coercing and
Ain't
psychologically
nobody coercing.
arm wrestling dudes into marrying you and stuff.
If you
But
ask my
but the
husband, he
reason
said
why
I
this happens,
always that's his
what
wife.
do y'all group chat with y'all free agency believe that a woman should get on her knees and get a man a ring?
I think the group chat has not dealt with that. But what I will say, the group
Yeah, yeah, ain't for that.
group
Well,
chat has
are y'all with? Let's just say a man got a standard like you got to get me a 6 carat ring. You know what I mean? Or don't even come here, and it can't be a ring from Walmart or whatever it is.
oh listen,
Are
the
y'all are
group
y'all with that?
the group chat has had men that say, I'm down and out on my luck, and you gonna kick a brother wives down. I'm asking for a little bit of support. So the group chat in Converse has done the same thing where they've had to take care of these men who are supposed to be doing the
No,
provision
but no,
because
I'm
they're
asking you. I'm asking you in this situation because I see now why it is, because I think there's a underlying belief that men don't. Remember, I told you that I believe is human beings. One of the dimensions that we have is this just eternal knowing of all things without it having to be said. And I feel like men know somehow that the fickleness of woman, that this ain't gonna last forever. So that's
you don't
why they
see, you
don't
don't
they
think
don't
that men
believe. So I think men prepare
the
themselves
you don't
for,
think men are fickle?
huh?
You don't think so? If men aren't fickle, why do so many marriages end in divorce and
Because
there's
of, because
so
a
much
lot because of the
infidelity?
woman. because
Not
because
because of the women all the time.
because
And,
because
men are
no,
cheating
not
with
because of the all the time, but I would say that a lot of the time now is because of the, and women be doing wild, like put it this way. I think that if you making a family, and not and no, for you and your husband is a different situation, right? But I think if you making a family with a woman, you need to mandatory check the DNA of that child to be sure that this is yours, right? Because
why would that
some
be so
because
if you're picking so well and this is a crazy conversation because it says to me that men take no accountability.
well,
No accountability.
so now y'all want to be like we pick so well, but we can't ask them. We gotta make a great pick, but we can't ask the 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 family of where this pick comes from, what the background is, and get to know them and get acceptance from them, and then we got to give them freedom to be free and loose and be live and do all this stuff. But the
That same
pick is
freedom?
on us, though, right? Huh?
Have you not given yourself that same freedom? Do men hold themselves to the same standard? So the fact that the group chat said that the best wives are the hoes, how do you feel about that statement?
Well, I think that the best. I think a hoe is a good housewife to a captain save a hoe. So if you a captain
What?
save a hoe mentality, then yes, a hoe will work for you. You know what I
Tell me, what does that mean? What craziness are you speaking?
mean? I'm saying that, like grandma said, that there's somebody for everybody. Then that thing that aligns, they got to be at a similar frequency. So if you a captain save a hoe,
Meaning you
you
out there
do.
hoe it yourself.
No, meaning that you want to save a hoe, you got a cape on your back to be the savior and protector of a hoe, then yes, that could work. You know what I'm saying? But if a decent man, come from decent stock and background, no. I
That's
I
how
I will
the
not I will not I will not be foolish enough to stand against any old wise saying. You know what I mean? When they
group
say you cannot make a hoe a housewife. I don't think that that has ever been disproven.
Well,
You
the group
cannot make a hoe a housewife.
the group
Period.
chat said once they let go of their beliefs that was rooted in misogyny and they took more ownership of their own sexuality, they could come and be presented to a person in a way that was free and the most loyal they had ever been, because at that point they had gotten the t-shirt, gotten the mug. They don't need to be, dropping it low by,
so
because
so help
they
me to understand how the actions of being a hoe got anything to do with misogyny. Like where
well,
where
because
is misogyny placed on that?
because the women are sleeping by themselves. So that means
Uh-huh.
all this Carfax reports, it's a bunch of used dingoes riding around here in the mail pool. But you want to be able to diminish the value of a woman because there's on that Carfax report, which they're
On that aspect, on the virtue of the condition of her chastity, yes, definitely, absolutely. You know what I mean?
so, but
But like,
condition
but let's just say, like, if
doesn't
she,
fit
so
you.
so
You might have
definitely her car, if she got a blemished Carfax, then that perception of value is going out the window. So now let's talk about what other value she can bring. Now, what else
okay.
do
So,
she have now?
it
You
doesn't,
know,
it's not diminished for the man then, right? So on the
not in
position,
that way, because men, I don't think, I put
men
it this
can
way.
have a whole bunch of
In, in,
babies,
in, in your in your in
babies
your
in
group
on their
chat,
wives. That's the group chat brought that up too. The group chat said, how does bald headed brother deal with the fact that men out here cheating, then bringing babies home to their wives and
I think
saying,
that's
"Oh,
reckless,
it
and
was a mistake."
I think that's wild. That's wild and reckless. So I do agree that that's a wild phenomenon, and again,
And it
and
happens.
it,
But you
and,
gotta
and it does happen, and I think like every man who's in that type of position feels deep regret and guilt for that. So like that doesn't go unpunished.
deep
For the
regret and
man,
guilt. So now all of a
deep
sudden,
regret and guilt. I think a man does for sure,
what's
especially
deep?
if it's if
Tell
it's
me, what's deep? What's that? What's that?
deep regret. So look, I think like those lessons are like hit you on the chin because they learned very difficult and hard. Like that's when you realize that you had somebody that maybe really really loved you and seen you in a certain type of way, and now you lose that. So you're not on that pedestal anymore. That this outside person that has this baby by you now is draining from your household because they most likely try and hit your pockets on the child support, this and that,
Mm-hmm.
and then and the embarrassment that you placing on your household and family, because now again this father who you have earned this respect from, now you gotta go to him and admit, like, I stepped out on your daughter and this and that. So these
Mm-hmm.
things the man definitely got some deep regret and guilt and shame off of. But I would say that these are things that maybe a woman wouldn't know, because a man ain't gonna, he's suffering in silence and carrying that burden and stuff. But my whole point is, like, it's true that, like, in a sexual perspective, if you've been a hoe, you've diminished your value, no doubt, right?
Everybody,
But yeah,
everybody, right? The
yo, if
male or
straight
the
off, straight.
female.
So, would you want, as a woman, and all the women in your group chat, whatever, and if they're of the ilk that they actually love a male seed, a child that they brought to this world,
Mm-hmm.
would they be overjoyed and happy if their son brought home the prostitute that they've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, and they're about to marry her? Would you be overjoyed about that experience? Yes or
Well,
no?
if all things were considered, because
But
prostitution.
if you was considering that fact, would that be alarming to you as a mother to know that this is the choice that your son?
What would alarm
It
me
would be
even?
alarming to me as a dad.
It
To
would be.
to That would be highly alarming to me as a dad, and I'll be wondering, son, are you serious? Like, this would,
You
this
would.
what you really
So,
want to
so, so is
do?
do you not know of anybody in, like, let's do celebrity land?
No,
that
I'm
they
asking the group chat. I want to poll the group chat, and I want to know if these mothers of decent ilk,
okay.
if they would be celebratory of the fact that
I,
their son that's brought home the hoe, and they found out this was the neighborhood hoe, would they be jumping up and down about that, or would they be concerned about their son's choice in this matter?
well, I think
Because
if it was somebody who was indiscriminate in the way that they were choosing sexual partners. Now, the neighborhood prostitutes suggest that they are out there as a profession earning money.
100%. Now,
Different.
what if you saw her ad out on the internet, or you saw her on the block, and you was like, would you be like, "Hey, daughter-in-law, come on, let's go get the lunch"? Like, how would
It
you
would
feel?
concern me. Well, it would concern me in the sense that how
Mm.
much did my child ask questions about the person that they're involved in? What did
So
these
we
sex?
all agree.
So
we're
wait,
on.
wait,
We're
wait,
all we're all
wait.
in consistent agreement.
I'm trying
That's
to be I'm
questionable.
trying to be as non-judgmental as possible because I recognize that many people who are called hoes are in relationships with people that they have traditionally felt like those situations would be more permanent. And for
You mean
whatever
like
reason,
with a pimp?
no,
like,
but
like what?
I think back to the people in my sphere that I might have been around who people were calling names like, "Oh, you're a hoe," And a lot of times those people were maybe sexually active with somebody that they really wanted to be partnered up with, and that in behind closed doors there was a far different conversation than what was going on publicly for whatever reason. And so those people weren't going into those sexual situations just to say, "Oh, I want to get my body count up." But then I
But
also
so how you run your body? So at what point? Because my brother Wes sent me something. It was this Cosby Show clip, right? It was about
Lord, it's
Vanessa
the
Vanessa.
Cosby,
Yeah, it was a
Cosby,
Cosby, but
who
it was
likes
spot
the Cosby.
on. And he sent me this joint because he said it made him think about me and my daughter. And he said basically what's going on in there was that one of the daughters had brought home a dude, and the father was saying, we do not like him. He's speaking on
Mhm.
behalf of the parents. And straight up, we don't like you, right? But you not to blame on this. He's like, if anybody's to blame, it's our daughter. And you know why? And then he made this analogy. He said, "What's your favorite kind of food?" You like, some kind of chicken. You like chicken, and you want what you want with it. You want some potatoes and mushrooms. You say, okay, cool. Let's say I make this for you. And then when I'm about to serve it to you, I go get the garbage can lid, and I put this food on the garbage can lid, and I give it to you. How you so basically the whole thing is presentation. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Okay.
my thought process is this: if if you've been if you got questions, and we all got things, we as humans, we all share this human experience of lessons that we learn, and most the best lessons the ones we learn the hard way.
Mhm.
Now, when we learn these lessons the hard way, there's a gift in that because we can give this wisdom and the blessing of that lesson to other people.
Mhm.
And then in that way, like there's no real shame and guilt in it when it's really been dealt with and all that stuff. But definitely when the things that you do, you get judged for. I mean, no matter what, like even if you religious and all this stuff, you be thinking that ultimately only God can judge me, and it ain't, I'm gonna face judgment and all that. There is a judgment that happens. Now that judgment, not everybody in the world has entitlement to it. You know what I
Correct.
mean? But definitely though, people who are closely connected to you have it. So if you're
I
my wife,
agree.
if
We
you're
agree.
my yeah, we agree. So if you're my wife, and I'm supposed to fulfill something for you, and I'm failing in that, you have the right to judge me. And I have the right to judge you in the opposite way. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
now if we come into the table, it's like, we putting everything, the sum total of who you are on the scale to balance. You know what I mean? So let's
Okay.
just say I met you and you are a prostitute now. I'm gonna give you a glory story. Like, what's that story we saw with Julia Roberts, what was that, Pretty Woman or something? And
Woman, she
she
was a prostitute.
that was the prostitute whole thing turned to. Now
It's a good housewife.
I could see how when the two people, but I saw another real about this where a dude is when a dude is running that thing back and the girl's telling him how she came into being a prostitute. And he's like, "Well, I'm sorry, you need to get the f out," whatever. But in that situation, when the person is opening up, being vulnerable, exposing a situation or whatnot, and and you can connect with it, you can see it without no judgment. That's
Mhm.
a beautiful thing,
It is.
but you
And
got to
actually,
measure the whole scale,
but we're all
right?
asking for that level of judiciousness, I think, where
100.
why always minimize women in particular? Because the
Hmm.
discussion happens to be about women. Oh, their body counts are a problem. I think it would be problematic if you're dating someone who's got hundreds of women under their belt. Um, I think these celebrity men who walk around here and say, I done slept with thousands of women. What makes them so
Well,
desirable other
you can't be on the dignity pedestal and virtue pedestal if you got a high body count,
but I think
But
they try
you can be on the good mother pedestal. You could be on the ride or die chick pedestal. You could be on the undying loyalty and trustworthiness and
so what
reliability pedestal, but
is
you can't be on the virtue like certain little thing. It's just like,
okay, and I'll give that to you. So what you're
yeah.
saying is in the complexity of a relationship, which is what the group chat wanted you to admit to. So I'm very glad you're there. Is that you can then bring a hoe and make that hoe housewife because there's loyalty, there's good mothering, there's stability, respect, all those things,
So
and
now
that
the
part of her being, maybe virtue, is that she has a higher body count. That does not count her out though as a good mate.
so
Is that
now here it is though, but
what
you
I
so
heard?
rightly said something that I want to highlight,
Well, no, I need to
which is
like
make
that,
her a housewife. So now
which
in what you
essentially means marry her, which essentially means marry.
right, 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 but like they say, make her an honest woman, make her a housewife. So like the man has to actively do something to administer this to make this be so, you know.
Well, the
But what
man
I'm
has
trying to say, it's
they
what I'm
all have
trying to say.
to put our rings together where one becomes two becomes one. The man has to agree that two becomes one. That's all we're asking. So what you're saying is because the group chat needs to hear you specifically and clearly that even though that one blemish, we'll say, for and I know that's not how they described it, but that one aspect of who they are, it does not take away the goodness of what they could bring in a marital situation. That's what I think I hear you saying, and I think the group chat would be very proud of you
Well, let me
on.
ask y'all. Let me ask y'all this question, right?
No,
Because I
you
want to
can't
know
even
with and this
ask
reciprocity that when we all group chat has, these women have, right? So if you're that question that they be asking on the employment application, like a person that has ever been convicted of a crime,
that. Mhm.
right? So in certain roles, right, certain crimes just automatically disqualify you. So let's just say you ever robbed a bank, you ain't never you ain't never working
You
for no
ain't working
bank,
at
right?
a
But so let's examine for a minute why that is so, right? Because if this is a thing that you have done, right? Then but now you want to seek, acceptance, in a specific role that is outside of the realm of being able to be given, rightfully so, because there's a concern here now in the decisions that you made and the actions that you have done that has to be taken in consideration. So what does a woman offer though? Because like let's just say a person in that situation, they could be considered for that role with certain things. Like they have demonstrated that, you know, that never will happen again. There's some
demonstrate,
other, yeah, like
demonstrate.
let's just say, for instance, like I robbed this bank when I was 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? I was there because my parent put me in there and told me to hold up this note that said, "Give me all your money." I couldn't
Mhm.
even read the note because I'm only 7. I didn't know what this shit said, but I came in there and I participated in robbing the bank, and that's why that's on my. So it could be something like that. And if I heard that, as an employer of this institution, I might say, okay, I get it. But there's some other things you could do too, which is like uh get bonding. Well, I got $1 million of bonding. So if you get me this job, if I end up stealing from you, robbing or whatever, you'll be able to, recover this through this bond. Now that gives me some assurances. Now, a
There's
woman
no
coming to the table with absolutely zero assurances,
there's no assurance
but
in love.
the
You know,
big blemishes and fickleness and
and
stuff is saying,
the male has big blemishes too. We're being 100 here.
but the man,
We're
let the male be accountable for himself and let the woman be accountable for her.
you know what we is crazy is that men couldn't, even if they've never had sex, they're gonna lie. Because men, and this is why it's rooted in misogyny, because the idea of being promiscuous and having a lot of females is supposed to be elevate your stature as a man. So even the ones who were like you knew weren't getting none in high school was lying
Man,
on the
y'all don't want them though. Like right now, let's just say
truth.
if y'all if I'm gonna
People
tell
want
y'all
a lot of
100%, if
certain bodies.
I'm gonna tell y'all 100%, this is 100% math that's going to factor every time. If you in a social situation in school, neighborhood, or whatever, and you're the quiet, nerdy, weakling guy who's not getting any sex and nobody's looking at him and all this stuff, and he would be the nicest, loyal guy. The women don't want him. They
It's
want the
not
good. They want
sex.
the good looking, uh getting
Yeah,
money in shape that other women are looking at. If
I
no
will
other
say,
women are looking at this man, those women do not want him. And y'all women need to be honest about that. Let's be real about that.
I will say that there is a certain amount of confidence that's needed. So, like, like I'm gonna use Biggie as an example, right? Because Biggie was not, he was an ugly man. Like, I mean, he's not an attractive man, but there was so much swag that he brought to the table. And that picture that you showed me, where I was like, come on, like, how is this man like celebrating all of this? But there was so much confidence included in that ball of a person that it's hard not to be cosmically attracted to it. And so I think women like confidence. I think women like people who um are not concerned about
But
how
they don't
other.
like virtue like men
I
like.
do think
So
I
that's
don't
the thing.
think that
See,
women
men,
ask
see,
the same
women want y'all want the confidence, y'all want this,
I
that,
don't.
y'all want the sweat.
That's not
But
true.
men want virtue.
But women
That is
also
the reason why
men
you're gonna
don't
marry
men
somebody. You want the virtue.
men
Hmm?
lie. Men lie. I think everybody in the group chat agreed that they lie on their body counts because men lie on theirs.
No, that
Everybody.
ain't why y'all lying. That ain't why y'all lying on it. See y'all blaming every single. That's the very definition of misandry is y'all hate men and y'all blaming all the bad things on the men.
No, they
Y'all
don't
ain't
hate.
lying about y'all. Y'all lying about y'all. About you never lie about something you're not ashamed of.
And that
You
goes the
know
same for men. So
you
why do so
see
men are lying because they're ashamed?
what I'm trying to say to you is if you're not ashamed of it, you would never lie about it. You'd be
Some
so
people just
proud. You tattoo it on your forehead. Like each time you got a new one, you put another mark because you're super proud. But you're not proud of it. That's why you try to hide it. And there's and those things. Some of those things viscerally come from the inside. It's just like if you've ever disappointed someone, you know, like
mhm.
those things. When you genuinely feel something connected emotionally to someone, and that happens, you feel it. And this is not like something that you can
There's a
hide or pretend. So I think like these little personal shames, they ain't something that's happening from the outside. I know personally some of these girls that's been out there and they do not like it themselves.
okay.
And
So
they feel like that. So
that's another
that ain't got
complex.
nothing to do with nobody. No, no.
This is lying because men lie. That's a separate issue. And I will say that I have heard, even from the group chat, that there are people who really regret spending time with people who they knew, like, in the reflection understood that that person didn't care for them in the way that they thought they cared for them. And I can understand that, having that level of regret. But also being able, the freedom of being able to do that without the consequence of being devalued is probably what motivates people not to tell the truth about those circumstances. Like, we all have things that we wish we didn't do, but then, let's just say those very women who are like, yeah, that was a bad choice, I wish I didn't sleep with that person, then
Right,
to
right.
be valued for it because they have now done their own work and reflected on, like, this was the wrong person that, to be involved in, and what was I thinking, and here were the motivations, and then have that added pressure of being like, well, now you slept with him anyway, you're a bad person, and I can't make you somebody that's of high, what was Kevin Samuel saying, you're not a high quality woman, when these are women who pretty much finance their own lifestyles. They don't need a man that's going to come in and take
Well, that's
care of
good for them, and that's only beneficial for them because men don't give a damn about like most men don't give a damn about the money and all this stuff.
But
So
a lot
I
of
would
women don't
say,
care about the money either. They want that
but I
partnership.
don't that no no nope nope negative. All women care about that. That's why you said you like a man could go into a situation and be like, okay, well, we started a family here and everything, but you're not thinking, well, since we have the family, like I need this contract to make sure, that financially things gonna happen. Men ain't thinking like that. So I say that to
Some
say
men
to you,
are. Some men are
nah,
getting
man,
sugar mama.
well, yeah. So I mean, like I say, there's an exception to every rule. So anything can prove you wrong because of the exception. But what I'm trying to say is, in general, you know, women
Listen,
are women
there
are
are
taking advantage of
women
men in
incarceration
general.
right now getting pen pals with the sheer motivation of finding a person that they can come to and leech off of as they transition back into lifestyle. That is a true thing. It happens. So this is, and it's
True,
men
I
who are
don't
doing
deny
it.
it. I agree. I agree, and I
So
do
don't
not deny it. But if I
and men
was, if I, if, but you was my sister, and I'm raising you, and you telling me I'm getting into a prison magazine, I wouldn't be with that. I'm like, man, nah, man, you need to wait. I would tell you the proper truth, which is wait and see what he would do with himself when he get home, and how he rebuild his life and all that. Like, let's see that if you really feel it for us. But I will say this, that sometimes like a man and a woman, either one, could be inside of a situation and they could have did something wrong and earned some scarlet letters or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
let's just say I got a woman and she's a community hoe. You know what I mean? And she got the library card to where niggas been checking her out or whatever. You know, forever she would never be of value to me. But for her next man, she may be because she's offended me and she's done something to me to put a
A
mark,
blemish.
your blemish, right? But she could learn from that situation. And in her next situation, and just and vice versa, a man could have like he could have been horrible in a
Mhm.
situation, but for the next woman, he could be all that for her
So
because
the so
now he's learned these lessons or whatever. So what I'm saying is the
so a hoe
value,
can
the
be
real,
a house.
I know. I don't. I think to a Captain Save a hoe, yes. But I think I think that I think that how a hoe could be, but there could be a retired hoe, right? And she could have turned completely away from her. You know that story of Jesus. It was that thing where they said, he who is without sin throw the first stone.
Yes.
And that woman that was about to be stoned, they had labeled her a hoe. So in this very real sense, Jesus Captain Save a hoe her. You know what I mean? And forever she was grateful for him for this, right? And I'm saying this to say to you that, like I said, maybe to the dudes who she had originally offended, she would always be looked at as bad. But somebody, uh, you know, came along that she was able to, repent her ways. And then, to him, she was of high value in many different ways. So I could see how this could be so. But that's a very exception to the rule. But in general, no. I would advise any man to rethink that. If you think that you got the power to change, somebody or make a hoe into a housewife, you need to know you're powerless in this way. You know, that ain't gonna happen. You know,
Oh my. Well, we have, our time always goes so fast. And this has complete. I cannot wait to see what happens in the group chat. It's not real time, so you had it fired up all over the weekend. I couldn't wait to talk to the. And in addition to that, I think is necessary to acknowledge the people who have been following us and hanging out with us and being
100.
enjoyed, but also that there are people who are currently now in this position of hurt and pain. I know this week has been a deep struggle for me as we've watched our country continue to implode, and the world really, the geopolitical environment has totally changed. And I was talking to Pop earlier, and he was like, "Man, you can't always be involved. Everything don't need your attention." And that was like a very healing kind of conversation for me because everything doesn't need my attention. I can't be involved in everything. So I hope that's my little tidbit for everybody: is you do get to unplug from this, and you get to decide how you're going to do this journey. And I hope you do it as healthy as you can, recognizing that our world is changing, and a lot of the change we're not going to, the impact of the change we're not going to experience, but it's going to be here for our children and our grandchildren, which I think has me the most sad. um but I'm happy that we get to spend our time together, and this is truly my favorite.
100%.
And
Yeah,
the group.
shout out to salute to Mr. Etheridge there. And he said in his own way that you can't be a Captain Save a hole for everybody. But big up to Gerald, Megs, Wes, and
Yes,
Tabor, all y'all, man. Salute to y'all and all
absolutely.
612,
And all y'all need to be liking, sharing, and having your friends. You know what, Black people, y'all get on my nerves. You ain't sharing it the right way. So like, share, and let's make sure that we create this community. I cannot wait to be back here next week. Hopefully, we'll have a guest next week. I think we're working on that.
Hmm.
And in the meantime, everybody stay healthy. Don't listen to anything Zadian says. He doesn't.
No,
Uh,
if a person listens to this wise counsel that I'm sharing through the vibrant energy of our grandmother Rose, then your life will surely be enriched. You know?
There's one thing for sure that you do not lack is when you walk in the room, you're not going to be the nerd. You're going to be the nerd, but you're not going to be the one that's not confident and this and that. And that's not who you're going to be. You have these interesting aspects of yourself that you hide, because them mugs don't know how big that brain really is, do they?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't speak on that. I think like they say, like a giant don't know it's a giant when it sees itself in the mirror. I don't know of myself in that way. All I am is just Xadian, and that's all I try to be is the
Well,
best.
you're a geek. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you that you're a little geek, and then you can do little geek toy things all your life. And so I'm gonna make sure that folks know that. And I'm very grateful that you entertain the group chat, and they're trying to make room for you and Wes and the rest of the boys that want to be in the group chat with us to come in. So we got to figure out how to make that happen.
Well, I was telling our family, cousin Jay, Sammy, Brian, all them. I think what we're going to do is put together a university so that we can, change our hoes into housewives.
Oh,
Give
God.
y'all some
Who
real
who
counselors.
the
Give y'all
teachers?
some real
Who are
moral
who are
virtues.
I gotta know the
my
instructors.
my brother is going to be the professors, and we're going to
Oh,
teach y'all how to really really
counterpart.
be nurturing mothers and wives, you know, to your man and protect your reputations out here in the community, which is
Oh my
vital
God.
for a woman.
So what you gonna call this university?
We don't know yet. Maybe the group chat can help us out with that.
Oh my God. And we gotta end on that note because I'm sure that's gonna have the group chat gonna be fired up. Now they trying to make a school to turn hoes into house.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is gonna be a real one, not like Umar's joint, you know what I mean?
No,
Like, but we will take donations and all that stuff. You know, we got.
oh my God. Happy birthday, brother. It's
To
always
you
good
as
to see
well.
you in the Rose Garden. Bye for now.
All right, bye for now.